Hey everyone, Xander's here, and it's E3 time. It's been in full swing. We've seen all the conferences. I just finished up with the Pokemon portion of the Nintendo Treehouse. It did not disappoint. We got into gameplay, like actual gameplay. Now, mind you, it's still an earlier build. The game is not complete yet, so some stuff is still missing. So keeping that in mind. The way things look as of right now is what I'm going to be focusing on. And after the presentation was done, there was a new video put up on the Pokemon YouTube page, which I'll be showing bits of here. I'm not reacting to it. I already watched it. Everyone does react to stuff. I just want to talk about it because I'm going to tell you this. I'm excited. So we get into the gameplay, and I'm watching this, and I'm just sitting here grinning ear to ear like an idiot because it just looks fun. I'm excited about the changes they've made. And there are some changes. They're not big changes. At least the majority of them aren't big. But we'll get into that. We also got some new Pokemon reveals. We got to see some battles in real time. And I'm happy to say they're doing fantastic. Without any more gushing, let's kind of just dive right in, shall we? So let's talk about some of the aesthetic changes from the last generation now. One of the changes they've made is to the actual battle interface, which I am showing on an image right now. As you can see, they've made a change to the layout. So what we've been used to in the past is kind of the big red battle button in the top middle area, taking up the majority of the screen, and at the bottom you have your run option, your bag options, and your Pokemon options, so you can go through your team and switch out. They've shaken that up a little bit. Run still takes the bottom spot, but they move the fight to the right side of the screen, and they move bag and Pokemon to the left side of the screen, taking up about equal amount of space as the fight button does on the other side from it. So it looks like it's a little bit more conducive. Also, the more recent using the last item you used option is now on the top left, and I actually like that being up there too. So just layout alone really does add something a little different, and I think it's a much improved layout personally. Also, something new to this layout, as you can see in the middle there, the very middle is taken up by images of the Pokemon on screen and where they place. What this does is you can actually now tap those images and see the status changes to the Pokemon battle, whether your own or your opponent's. So you can see what effects are on them right now, such as if their defenses are down, how much. It looks like when you click it, there's 6 dots after each stat. And this allows you to tell at a glance how many times their defense or whatever stat has been dropped. So at least I'm guessing that because it didn't show stacking any of them during the playthrough, but I'm assuming that when you stack them, it'll just go and fill up the next dot with another arrow, either orange arrow up or a blue arrow down, which I think is a fantastic idea. So now you don't have to sit here and second guess if you lose track. You can actually just see what's going on, and you can keep track of what's been affected on your end, whether positive or negative. Streamlining, I think, is necessary to really help newer fans or younger fans get into the more competitive aspect. I think it's going to help a lot for people like me who get forgetful when it comes to what kind of stat disadvantages have I put on my opponent. I kind of lost track of the number. It happens. But getting away from the interface, which looks, again, awesome, we get into the battle screen, which has changed a lot from the last games. From the last games, we had some cool dynamic camera angles. They've improved upon that in this version. And it's not just that has changed. Presentation in general has changed in battles. You do not just see the Pokemon on screen anymore during the battles. You see the trainers. Notice I said trainers. Your trainer is on screen and opponent trainers are on screen too at the same time. So when the camera's moving, you're there. Your created character is on screen. Whoever you're fighting is on screen. And they move around a little bit, make gestures, and you get a scale of size of Pokemon to their human counterparts. You get to watch them, sit here thinking. You also get to see when a battle is instigated, an animation now for all the trainers, since they have models. That is a great idea. It's basically do like a little thing, like you run across a preschooler, he'll do a little thing like this or whatever, he'll stop, and all of a sudden he'll freeze frame into an image. And it'll say like, you're challenged or whatever by so-and-so trainer. And I think that's really cool. So you're actually getting to see the trainers on the field, and you're getting to experience, the interaction between the Pokemon and the trainer. And I think that is great. Not to mention, wherever you're battling, they've changed the background a bit. For instance, there's a point in the demo that they were doing on the Nintendo Treehouse where they're on a stage that you see in the earlier trailers where you get your choice of Pokemon at the starter, and you're on the stage and you're battling How. And in the background, you have other characters from the area that we're watching, because this is a festival, and they're in the background. So you have other people in the background watching, and that's something different. You're getting a sense of the world around you as you battle. It's not like you just go in your own little universe, little pocket universe and fight. There's stuff going on around you, and that is such a minor change, but I think it just adds a lot to the dynamic of the world, and I think this is a fantastic way to go. So I know I'm just gushing, but this is just so cool. And it's just so minor things. Like I said, these aren't major changes. These are all minor little things that people have wanted to add in for a long time, and they're finally putting them in. And it just feels right, and it feels seamless. It just looks so cool. Another thing about battles, since we're talking about that right now. On the field, you're walking around, all of a sudden, exclamation mark, da-da-da-da-da, battle music, and now you're in a battle. They've made a change to this as well. It's a minor change, but I think for people like me who hate when you're in the middle on routes and it's a long route, you're taking forever to get somewhere, you're like, okay, I don't want to fight your trainers, please let me avoid trainers. Now you will know when you get close to a trainer battle. When you're about to enter the line of sight of a trainer, the screen, and I'll show you on here what it looks like, the screen will change a little bit. As you can see here in this image, the top and bottom of the screen is kind of going to a, kind of like the cinema bar, the black bars on the top and bottom of the screen. It's similar to that. It goes in kind of a cinematic mode. And it looks like, I guess the way they describe it's like tension is there, and it's like you can sense it. So it allows you to kind of have a trainer sense in a way. And you can be like, oh, I'm not ready for a battle, I need to go back this way. I need to find a way around, or something like that, or you can just gung-ho into it. And again, this is a minor change, but it again adds something different and another dynamic and a little wrinkle into just the minor aspects of gameplay. Another minor change that they're doing with Pokedex information this time around. They didn't show much of the Rotom Pokedex stuff. That's part of the stuff that was not included in this build that they showed. In fact, like I said, that's stuff that was missing. A lot of this bottom screen is black because that stuff isn't in there, so you don't have the map, you don't have Rotom actually giving you directions of where to go, which is what it's going to do. But you do get a glimpse of how it registers Pokemon, and they made something a little different. Instead of just an image of the Pokemon and the description down below and the other little bits of information, it shows a colored image, like a full-on just image of the Pokemon like you see here, and it shows how many possible evolutions it has. So for instance, this is one of the new Pokemon, which you might recognize from the initial trailer that we got the wireframe design on, and I had said back then it was a woodpecker. I was right, it's a woodpecker. I am not going to let anyone live that down, that I was right, it was a woodpecker. But this is Pikipek, and yeah, as you can see, Pikipek here has 2 more stages, and that's a really cool addition, because a lot of us are saying, okay, I don't know if this evolves or not. You don't know this when it comes to new games. Now you can get an indication of that later on. Though I'm kind of wondering how this is going to look for Eevee when it comes up. I mean, seriously, I'm trying to imagine that. It's just like Eevee in the middle and just like all the different evolutions around it. Or how's that going to work? I really don't know. But I do like this change because now, whenever my son comes to me saying, does this evolve? What's it evolve into? I can just go up to his dex and say, how many spaces do you see? So that saves me a lot of headaches explaining to my son, what evolves and what doesn't evolve and stuff like that. So this is awesome for me on a personal level. That's why I'm enjoying this. Plus, it makes it easier for me playing through it with all these Pokemon, like, what changes, what does and doesn't. So I'm okay with this change. Speaking of Pokemon, we're going to talk about the new ones that were revealed today. There were 3 of them, and we just talked about one, and that was Pikipek. Now, as discussed, Pikipek is a woodpecker, and it is actually the woodpecker Pokemon, and it'll have the abilities Keen Eye or Skill Link. I like that about this. It's not just a Pidgey clone or anything like that. It has a bit of a difference from that. So while it is normal flying, and it does have Keen Eye, which a lot didn't have Keen Eye, it has Skill Link, which I think is really going to help people out, which means it's probably going to be the hidden ability for Pikipek. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is actually the first one we got to see. It was one of the random encounters, and that is Yungoos. Yungoos is a pure normal type. It is known as the loitering Pokemon, and it has either the ability Strong Jaw or a brand new ability called Stakeout. So according to the website, I'm actually looking at it right now, the Stakeout ability allows Pokemon's moves to deal out twice the normal damage to any Pokemon that switches in or enters the field in mid-battle. That's different and really interesting. I'm glad they're actually bringing out more unique abilities because it's been kind of stagnant for a while. But I really just like Yungoos. I think this is my favorite one out of all the different designs that we saw today. All 3 of them. It kind of reminds me of like a little adorable Lewis Black. It's just got this snare, you just can't help but love it. I actually might name I am Lewis Black, depending on how much space I've got for names. But I'll name it Lewis at the very least. Now, this last Pokemon did not actually make an appearance on the Treehouse live. This is one I think they were expecting to run into, but they just didn't. But what we got was an announcement on Cerebi and the website, and that is the new early bug type, and that is Grubbin. Grubbin is the larva Pokemon. It looks like a beetle almost. So I'm really kind of interested to see what they go here. It's got the ability Swarm, and I'm going to read this because this is really interesting to me, at least. Grubbin loves electricity, which is why it can be found near power plants and substations. I'm wondering if this evolves into an electric bug type once it fully evolves. If so, that will be interesting. We have one electric bug type, I think, in the entirety of the game, and that is the Joltik line. So there's 2. It's just that one line. So this is something that isn't common. And I think that's a good thing. And overall, I like this design. I'm actually wondering if it'll become kind of bipedal, kind of like a pincer or a Heracross kind of deal, or if it'll go kind of like the Scolipede route and just kind of get bigger, bulkier, and menacing as it fully evolves. So this is what I'm kind of keeping an eye out on. I think this might be another one of my favorite bug types. It has this potential. This isn't anywhere near confirmed. This is just my speculation. What kind of ability it's going to have when it fully evolves too. We'll have something like Lightning Rod. Will it have something that causes paralysis, ecstatic? There's a lot of potential here if this becomes an electric bug type, so I'm not sure what goes on here, but so we did get to see it in action. So far, I'm loving the designs of the Pokemon that we've been getting, because they're simple, and they still look unique and striking. Though I'm kind of sad that we're just getting mostly normal type reveals, although we do have a rock and a bug now. All the others have been normal, flying. So, I wish we'd had a little bit more of the other types, but these are probably very early on Pokemon that you find. So I can't complain too much about that, but these are so cool and they're so cute. I can't wait to have them, and I'm sure my kids can't wait either. Alright, so we're gonna get away from the little changes of new Pokemon to talk about a real big wrinkle in gameplay for Pokemon. My friends, I give you Battle Royal. This is a 4-way fight. So 4 trainers get together and they have up to 3 Pokemon each. The way you win is once someone loses all 3 of their Pokemon, the first one to lose all of their Pokemon, the match ends. And those that have the highest points, which usually means you have the most Pokemon, and I think a few other variables are added in, you win. So it's essentially going to be, you can't really unless you're going to find a way to gang up and you can still lose but help someone else win. This is a complete free-for-all. And you don't have to beat everyone, you just have to wait for the right opportunity, pick who you're fighting against, and be smart about it. You can still will come from behind. So this is something I think it's going to be a lot of fun for me and my kids. Though I do wonder if you have to have players, if you'll find a random player, if you do local. But I have several friends that play Pokemon, and again, this includes my kids. So I'm hoping we can find a way to work that. Maybe find a CPU opponent. So I'm kind of hoping you can do that if you can't have all four. They didn't go too much into it in that aspect, but just as an ideal alone, this is something I think is going to really help differentiate the Gen 7 games a lot more from previous games. And there's really about it. That's all the big information we got about Sun and Moon from the Treehouse Live. And honestly, even though it's minor things, it actually really helps show what Sun and Moon is going to be. It shows how it's going to present itself. It gives us its own identity and how it differentiates. Speaking of which, there's one more little bit of information that slipped through while they were playing. The 4 islands of the Alola region, each has its own guardian. So I think we may have a little bit more than just the Sun and Moon legendaries to worry about through this. Don't know much more about it, but it's just something to kind of keep your ear to the ground for. Because we may have a few more pseudo-legendaries or legendaries to look forward to over the next few months. Or it could be we know nothing about them until after the game's release. But still, a little mystery is a good thing, I think, especially in this case. So, thank you for joining me. I had a lot of fun talking about this. I had a lot of fun watching it. My hype levels are going up the more I learn. While there are still people that are skeptical about it, and rightfully so, being a little skeptical is a good thing. But there are some that are complaining that the game's getting easier. And then that's maybe kind of true in certain ways. Streamlining a game does mean making it easier to certain extents. And I think that's a good thing to make it more accessible to more people. But I understand what a lot of people worry about is having, another weak narrative, which, let's face it, Gen 6 kind of did have some bit of weak narrative with the villains. And you're worried about, the difficulty curve kind of really being lowered. I know some people are wanting to have different difficulty modes like they did with black and white games, which I can understand, and I would be fully behind. I'm not worried about the game being difficult. I'm worried about the game being fun. And this is again something I can do with my kids and with friends. If it's a little easier, you know what? I'll take that. I don't want to just go grind heavy and it's just Pokemon. No, Pokemon is about having fun and connecting with people, and battling and making strategies. What makes the game difficult is how you play it. Whether you're playing competitively or you're doing Nuzlocke, you can make the game a little more difficult in your own ways. But I do understand the criticism some people might have towards this as viewing it as too easy, possibly. So I can't be upset with them, and I'm not upset with them. I'm just more optimistic than them, and I'm a little more excited with them, I think. So my hype train levels are just kind of going a little bit faster and a little harder each time I get some information. So I don't know about you, but are you excited? Did this information kind of really raise your hype levels, or do you have the same concerns as others? Anything that might be getting a little too easy? Let me know down in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed yourself, and don't forget to share this video because, frankly, everyone's going to be talking about this stuff today. And maybe you want to hear someone else's opinion, or maybe our opinions match up, and you want to share your opinion about this with someone else, and you want to use me as the medium, which would be awesome, and I would appreciate it. Thanks again for joining me. My name is Xandros, and as always, please remember, stay awesome. Till next time.